Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for showing up and for coming to this cozy Zoom for the State of Fitness update. We're calling it the COVID remix, and we'll get into that a little bit later. I'll introduce myself first. I'm Kristen. I'm the Chief Content Officer at asweatlife.com. Like I said, we've got the rest of the team on the call as well. You've got Gina, the founder and CEO. You've got Marie, our Director of Partnerships. You've got Kelly, our Senior Director of Communities, so trainers. She is your girl for anything that you need right now. Kelly, do you want to do a quick shout out to the workshop that we have coming up?
Yes, thanks for asking. So last week we had a Trainers Connect where we talked about digital training success, and I've posted on our website the video from that and all of the comments that were included for suggested equipment for digital training. And then next Tuesday at 2 p.m. we're bringing in a legal firm to talk about kind of like next steps, specifically really for Chicago and phases and what that looks like from a legal standpoint. So take a look at our website. We'll include, I can include a link in the chat to sign up for that workshop on Tuesday. Gina already did it.
Gina is on top of it.
She's on it. Thanks.
So if you are new to A Sweat Life and the kinds of things that we do, we have typically been in the fitness event space, but we expanded a lot beyond that into all of the things that help you to live a better life. So at the heart of every A Sweat Life event, we are doing two things, and that is trying something new. So for all of us, this is brand new information. No one else has seen it before, which is really exciting. So good for us. And then we always like to meet new people, which is hard to do on a 50-person Zoom call. So we're going to utilize the chat box right down there. If you wouldn't mind, just type, say hi, say your name, where you are currently, and then let's do, if you're in the fitness industry, why don't you drop your handle if you're a trainer, or your gym's handle if you're a gym owner, and if you're just a fitness enthusiast, just say what you are missing right now. What's your favorite gym that you are excited to go back to once it is totally safe and open to do so. I can plug myself here too. I train at Sweat Fitness Studios at the Gold Coast location, but we've also got a Lincoln Park location in Chicago. Kelly has trained there too. I was about to say Gina has, but that's not true. I just feel like everyone that I know has. So I cannot wait to get back into that basement gym. Oh, I'm missing flywheel too. I miss things with equipment is what I'm feeling right now, and that's actually a theme that you will see in our presentation. So while you guys are all introducing yourself, I am going to do that awkward thing where I share my screen and you quickly see all of the tabs that I have open. And then we'll get this presentation started. All right. Cool. Kelly, can you give me a quick thumbs up if it seems like this is working? Yay. All right. Love it. Cool. Well, thank you guys so much. Welcome to the State of Fitness. We are calling this the COVID remix because that makes it sound a little bit cooler than it actually is. As you might know, we do the State of Fitness at A Sweat Life every year. So I'll get into that a little bit quicker, but obviously things have changed since our results came out in March. So we wanted to give you guys an update, and we wanted to do that update for ourselves as well because we are super curious about everything that is happening right now. So hi, that's me. I'm Kristen. Like I said, I'm the Chief Content Officer at A Sweat Life. What that means is that I handle, yes, all of the words on the website, but I also am in charge of our current podcast project, which is The Daily Distance. We're on Spotify, iTunes, and the hashtag We Got Goals feed. They're really fun, short little episodes. I also am in charge of our special projects, which includes things like gift guides and our annual State of Fitness survey. So we've been doing the State of Fitness for 4 years now. So we've got a lot of data that has been shared with us by our readers, our community, and this is my personal second year of overseeing the project and making sure that it gets shared with our community in a really exciting way. Like I was starting to get into before, why are we doing this now? We released our annual State of Fitness survey in March, and we quickly realized it was kind of useless with how quickly things changed. So not really, but we decided that things had changed enough that we wanted to hear from our audience again about what their current fitness habits looked like, what's changed, what they're missing, what struggles they're facing, and then we wanted to share it with our community in the industry and just our general fitness enthusiasts so that everyone can kind of hear and learn from what everyone else is going through right now. We saw a lot of curiosity, a lot of worry in our community about how this new normal is kind of panning out, and we wanted to dive deeper into this data to pick out a few things that we could know for sure. So with that being said, let's get into it. So who answered our survey? We had over 1,000 responses in just a 2-week span, which we were really excited about. Mostly in the 18 to 29 age range, mostly female, which is pretty in line with what our typical audience looks like. Average household income in the 25,000 to 49,000 range, and it was evenly spread around the country. So although our audience is heavily based in Chicago, this does include insights from people all around the country. All right, so we're going to ease into our data right now. Start off pretty simple. We asked if since the pandemic had hit, have you worked out more, less, or about the same amount? And we were pretty surprised to see that it was really evenly split. About 1/3 of the people are working out fewer hours per week, 1/3 are actually working out more, and then the other 1/3 is working out about the same. So that data has been pretty consistent. After that, we want to get into how people are working out pre-pandemic and how they are working out right now. And this starts to get interesting right off the bat. So on the left-hand side, you see how respondents worked out before the pandemic. You see strength is being the most popular, which was a trend that we were really excited about because it was very specifically about women getting stronger and women taking control in the weight room and picking up heavy things and putting them back down. You also see the really popular classes like yoga and HIIT. Running is coming in 4th place, and then cycling rounds out the top 5. One thing that is interesting to note too is that we've seen running kind of fall for 3 years during our survey data. So that's something to keep in mind, is that running has kind of lost a little bit of popularity over the years. And then on the right-hand side, we asked our survey respondents right now, how are you working out currently? And walking blew everything away, which I was not personally super surprised by, because everywhere you look in neighborhoods, walking is the main form of physical activity that people are getting when they're staying healthy at home all day long. So in my neighborhood in Kentucky, I would see tons of families taking evening walks, lots of kids out walking together, people walking their dogs on separate sides of the sidewalk. So walking, the low impact, low intensity activity, has had a major bounce back right now. Right under that, you see that body weight strength is the next most popular. People are lining up, or they're making the most of what they have. And as we've always heard, if you have a body, you are an athlete. So people are using their body, they're using their own resistance to get in that strength work that normally they would make use of dumbbells and barbells and kettlebells and TRX for. People are working out with equipment. You are probably not surprised to hear this, because it's been a struggle to get dumbbells or resistance bands or any piece of personal at-home fitness equipment shipped to you right now. Those items are out of stock. They're being pre-ordered. Yoga, still popular, and then running, still in that top 5. Couple of notes here. Like we said, with that walking and the body weight strength taking up those top 2 spots, it is really back to basics for fitness. People are taking part in activities that are simple, that they can do pretty much anywhere, pretty much anytime, without a lot of fancy equipment, without the right shoes, the right shorts. They're really going back to the basics here. Another thing about these 2 activities, they're activities that can do throughout your lifetime. So you don't have to be, 30 and in the best shape of your life to be taking part in these workouts. You're starting these habits that you can carry on throughout your aging process. So it's really cool to see that people are building these habits now. And it would be interesting to check back in and see how we keep up with these habits in the next phase of all of this. Another thing that we have all had on our minds here at Sweat Life is the popularity of things like Peloton, you know, the fancy at-home fitness equipment that is an investment piece but has a really loyal brand following. And we're seeing that Peloton is definitely cementing its place as the connected fitness hardware leader, and they've got still room that they could grow. So on the left-hand side, pre-pandemic, you see that about 41% of our participants incorporated cycling into their workouts. Now, indoor cycling is down to 20% since not everyone has access to a bike at home. So that's still a really large market share that Peloton definitely could jump in on, or some of that copycat brands like Echelon or like Nordic Track or Schwinn. Some of those other fitness brands have an opportunity as well. Come here. All right, another question that we asked, because at A Sweat Life we are really interested in helping our community try new things. We asked, have you tried something new during this pandemic fitness? And we found that 75% of our respondents have tried a new workout or have used a new workout platform or found a new fitness influencer that they love. 58% of respondents have discovered a new studio, a gym, a fitness platform, or a fitness pro. And those numbers probably would not have been so high if it weren't for all of those options of digital fitness available. Now, it doesn't matter where in the world you are. You can work out with a trainer in California. You can work out with someone in Australia. You've got all of the options available to you with all the different platforms that fitness professionals are making the use of right now. So now is a good time because people are actively seeking and they have this open mind to trying something new while they're staying healthy at home. Fun little shout outs. Here's a couple of happy notes from our respondents. People are loving MV Fitness, the Peloton app, Studio 3's virtual classes, Ray, her home strength workouts, and Ray especially does a great job with no equipment, with dumbbells, with resistance bands, with whatever you have laying around the house. Other shout outs, Rumble, Yoga 2.0's, Janet Stone Yoga, Pio, so good that they are now paying for it. Orange Theory, using household items. I don't know how many times I've seen laundry detergent and loaded up duffel bags being used as weights in Instagram Live workouts. Some people are just coming around to the idea of working out at home in general. And I will count myself among one of these people. Before this, I was a class diehard. I had my favorite studios that I rotated around religiously, my favorite instructors, and I can super identify with this third comment here where they certainly prefer studio atmosphere, but they're getting used to the idea of working out at home. And also of note, and something that we will get into a little bit later, respondent has been working to find free classes that fit in my schedule, trying to save money. Amen to that. All right, speaking of money, let's talk about it a little bit. So in our January 2020, the pre-COVID state of fitness, we found that our respondents spent a monthly average of right around $100 on fitness. And that represents a decrease for the third year in a row. In 2019, they spent about $112, and in 2018, they spent about $123 per month. So all of that points to people getting a little bit savvier with their fitness budgets in general. And just to break it down a little bit further, we found in our January survey that 51% of our respondents spent between $26 and $175 on fitness monthly, while about 26% of people spent $25 or less per month. All right, so here's where we really get into the nitty-gritty. On the left-hand side, you've got the pre-COVID monthly spend, and we wanted this to include gym memberships, boutique classes, whether that's class packages or drop-ins, streaming subscriptions, things like ClassPass, and any other workouts on a monthly basis. So left-hand side is before COVID, right-hand side is after COVID. Before COVID, you were seeing that people are spending right in that sweet spot, somewhere between $26 to $175 per month. About 8% of respondents did all of their fitness for free. About 18% spent up to $25 per month. So there were some budget conscious respondents, but on the right-hand side, it is a really drastic difference. We're seeing that nearly 40% of our respondents are doing all of their fitness for free, and about another 20% are spending just $0 to $25 per month. The number of people, if you look at the $125 mark, the number of people spending $125 or more monthly dropped from around 37% to just 12%. So that was a really steep drop off. And we can attribute this to a variety of reasons. You know, people are scared to spend money right now. They're worried about the economy. They might be worried about job security. In general, the pandemic is making a lot of us take a long, hard look at our budgets. There's also no gym for them to go to, so they're freezing their memberships. Some gyms may not be equipped for online options or virtual classes through MindBody or another sort of platform where you can charge your members for those virtual classes. So that leads to more people seeking out those free Facebook Live or Instagram Live or YouTube workouts. And then when people are spending money, the online virtual options that people can actually do are at a much lower price point, right? So a lot of the monthly apps are in that $0 to $25 per month range where you can commit to it on a monthly basis. And a lot of them are offering extended free trials right now without worrying so much about how much you're spending. All right. We also asked if, since the pandemic, if people had invested in any at-home fitness equipment. 45% said they had. And of those who had spent some money, how much had they spent? Prices are still pretty low. About a fifth of the respondents were in the $50 or less range. You do see a little bit of a higher uptick towards the more expensive end, starting right around the $101 and higher mark. I did want to include, for just reference note, the Peloton starts at $2,245, but they do have a financing offer with that 0% APR financing, no early payoff penalties, and that's about 97-ish bucks a month for both the bike and the content. So people are buying equipment, but they're not necessarily investing in the really big, flashy purchases as much as you might think. All right, so let's talk a little bit more about gym memberships and classes specifically. Before COVID, about 2/3 of our respondents paid for a monthly gym membership or a service like ClassPass. And we want to note here that this doesn't include streaming options like Peloton or one-off class packages. This is something that your credit card is going to get auto-charged for every single month. So we wanted to ask about what people expected to do after shelter in place starts to lift. So we asked, post-COVID, do you expect to continue paying for a gym membership or a service like ClassPass? About half of the people said yes, 25% said no, and then the remainder already didn't pay. And then after COVID, do you expect to regularly attend a gym or a group fitness class? And I'll get into the fine print that we have down at the bottom here. We defined post-COVID as within 3 months of shelter-in-place restrictions being lifted, and we defined regularly attend as something that you would go to at least twice per month, so once every couple of weeks. And by and large, about 2/3 of our respondents said they do expect to get back to regularly attending a gym or a group fitness class, but 1/3 said no, and that's a pretty big chunk. So people are being converted to the at-home virtual fitness life. And a lot of people wanted us to know, this all depends, which is completely understandable. And we will get into this a little bit more. One more thing that I want to touch on here, just so we have a little more context. Before COVID, we found that about 61% of our January survey respondents paid for classes every month, and about 30% paid for ClassPass. So just something to keep in mind when we're looking at this data. And then on the right-hand side, before COVID, something to compare it to, about 73% of our respondents in January worked out at a class-based gym at least once a month. So think a boutique or something where classes and not like a big box format are their main revenue. and 23% of our respondents hit group fitness classes 16 or more times a month, so 4 times a week and up. So people were really excited about classes. You know, people have been passionate about their favorite studios, following their favorite instructors, the motivation, the energy, the community. These were all things that we heard people sharing as to why they loved group fitness so much. So people are not quite willing to give up on that yet, but they do want to make sure that things are safe and that the industry is listening to them once they get back into the gym. And we will get into that later. So, asking about virtual fitness specifically, in our January survey, about half of our respondents did not use any form of digital fitness, which I found shocking, that no one used any type of, you know, Peloton app or YouTube workouts or Instagram Live, anything like that. About half of our respondents said they did not use any form of this. And of the ones that did, 34% said that they used it only for free. So they weren't paying for any streaming services, any apps, or any content. And just 13% of respondents paid $25 or less for digital fitness. So again, it is a much lower price point, obviously, than those in-person classes. So getting into the digital breakdown, and I'll go into what each of these are so that I know it cuts off, and that's a little bit annoying. So starting from the top, about a fourth of responders are this, and this is of who is paying for digital fitness right now, what digital fitness people are using during the pandemic specifically. So this is all pandemic specific digital data. About 27% of people are paying for digital fitness through a gym that you're already a member of. So these are the gyms that were able to quickly pivot to virtual classes. They were able to quickly set up streaming classes or jumped onto certain apps that would let them host live streaming workouts and get members to be able to buy class packages for that. So that represents about 27% of our respondents. Next up, 45.5% of our respondents are using a digital fitness platform. And for these, it was things like Active, Peloton, NTC, Obi, all of those big names where you can do those on demand and streaming workouts. Next up, we've got the Facebook and Instagram Live workouts, which are free, pretty self-explanatory. YouTube at 30%, virtual personal training is that orange 5.9%. Workouts from a fitness influencer that are shared on social media. So think like static posts to the grid where you go through the slides and you demonstrate a few different workout moves and how they come together for a full body workout. After that, we've got a digital media publications website. So things like Shape or Self or Pop Sugar, where people are going to a specific media company for those workouts. And then we have other. So again, a lot of digital fitness apps, but it's also nice to see that people are being willing to support their local gyms that they want to see succeed, that they want to still be standing here at the end of this. Awesome. When we asked our respondents, you know, whether they saw themselves going back to a gym, we got a lot of hedging, right? So we got a lot of people saying, you know, I'm not going to rush back to a gym. I'm going to be cautious. I'm going to judge for myself. I want to hear from my gym specifically as to what their plans and protocols are. I might opt for class packages with a nice long expiration date instead of a monthly membership. It's going to take people, a lot of people said they can't imagine it in the near future or until there's a vaccine. Some people want to keep doing everything from home. And then we thought this last quote was pretty interesting. Won't go back to Orange Theory or any other class where I'm moving around a shared space and possibly sharing equipment. I'm hoping to feel safe enough to go back to solid core as soon as it opens back up. It feels lower risk since the machines are already more spread out and you're only touching your equipment for the entire duration of class. Ultimately, if I feel like I can control what I'm touching and who is coming near me, I will return to class. So you'll hear us talk about this a little bit more still, but if you are on the industry side of things right now, if you're a trainer or a gym owner, studio manager, what have you, these are things that you're consumers, your clients, your regulars are going to want to know upfront. So plan to address all of these comments, plan to be super transparent and super communicative about what protocols, what you've changed, how you're maintaining social distancing, and all around like how you are going to care for your clients and how you're going to make them feel safe in your gym. All right, switching it up a little bit, we asked, what are you missing most in your fitness routine right now? Here is what they said. We grouped this into sort of overall themes. And again, if you are in the fitness industry, maybe this is something that you can capitalize on when it comes to planning your digital strategy. If you're just a fitness enthusiast, just know that you are not alone. We saw a lot of people saying they miss the accountability and the routine of going to a gym that is not also your basement or your office or your kitchen or your spare bedroom. So people are missing just the routine of scheduling and going to classes, having a coach, the group environment, feeling like they can't really push themselves when it's just them on their own and it's better in a group atmosphere. Again, some people just don't have time, and we saw a lot of that from people who are whose work statuses have changed, or maybe they're taking on bigger projects, or they're also responsible for childcare at this time. People miss time alone at home to work out without an audience, and I can definitely relate to that, not because my family is watching me work out, but because my puppy is constantly wondering why I am laying on the ground doing something that looks like it's hurting me. So having that time just for you, having that separation of gym and home is something that people are really craving. And then again, people miss just the energy and the atmosphere that comes from a group fitness class, feeling like they can push a little bit harder, they don't have to worry about disturbing neighbors, and they can really focus on what is happening in that studio, in that space, with the people, like really staying in the present and not getting distracted by all of the things around them. Equipment was the other big thing, and I'm sure this is not super shocking. People don't have room in their house for a bike or a treadmill or squat racks or weights. So people are really missing that variety. They're missing their equipment. And it's hard to find right now, right? A lot of things are back ordered or are just available for pre-ordering. Companies are working as hard as they can to stock up. And we know that a lot of gyms in Chicago got really creative with this by allowing their members to rent equipment. So that was a really innovative solution that we loved hearing about from some of our favorite gyms. Another thing we saw a lot was that you just cannot replicate a Zen hot yoga studio in your house. No way, no place to do it. So people who are hot yoga fanatics are really missing that. And then we got a couple of comments saying that they missed feeling safe while running. It's kind of a, double-edged sword, right? On one hand, you're staying away from people because that's what you're supposed to do when you're running. You're not supposed to run in groups. You're supposed to stay socially distant. But also, and I know this is especially true for our female community, running alone can be scary. It can feel very unsafe. So it can just make it a little bit more restrictive than back in the pre-pandemic days. And then finally, the last big theme that we saw when we asked people what they missed from their pre-pandemic fitness routine was their community. They miss you guys. They miss their instructors, fellow gym members, working out with friends, socializing while working out, having that be like burpees and brunch type of thing that you did every Saturday, the encouragement, the bonding, and just the overall environment and the energy. So when studios do start to phase into their opening, whether that's through outdoor workouts or really limited class sizes, I think owners and trainers would be really smart to think about how you can really pump up that energy in that environment and make people feel connected, even if they're staying, 6 feet apart, 10 feet apart, even if the class that was usually, 40 people deep is less than half of that. Thinking about how you can really bring the energy and the enthusiasm through that entire experience, I think is going to go a long way into getting your members excited as well and happy to be back. All right, last little section. We got out our crystal ball for the last part of this survey, and we asked our respondents what predictions you have for the fitness industry after the pandemic. And again, we broke it up into a few overall themes. The first one was just changes within the gym. People are predicting that classes will be limited to half capacity, much more disinfecting of machines and weights, maybe stricter limits placed on number of attendees, smaller class sizes, fewer transitions, if any, between machines, especially in those HIT classes where you're jumping from one station to the next, fewer or no hands-on assists, and much stricter cleanliness expectations and a lot of transparency around how often you're cleaning, who is cleaning, what equipment you're using to clean. Those were all mentioned several times. Temperatures taken at the door, masks on their trainers, maybe encouraging members to wear masks. For big box gyms, maybe having people book slots so that you can ensure that it's not crowded at any time, limiting how long people are using equipment. And then they expect that members will be asked to be super diligent as well on sanitizing equipment before and after use. People weren't sure whether locker rooms or pools and other sorts of areas would be open right away, and then expecting gym equipment to be spaced out, the gym floor rearranged. There is a lot to think about here. And again, if you're in the industry on this call, these predictions are the expectations that your members are going to have. It's what they need to feel safe. So once you start to make your reopening plan, these things like capacity, cleanliness, masks, and social distancing, and how the gym floor is rearranged, these are all things that your members are going to want you to have a plan for. You got to be prepared for every question that people are going to ask once they start being able to book their classes again. So take a look at this. And again, we're happy to answer more questions about this once we're at the end of the presentation. Overall, in sort of the broader industry changes, people really think at-home virtual workouts are here to stay. It's possible that gym memberships will decline even after stay-at-home orders are lifted, and it is expected that some beloved small studios will close in the short term. More Peloton copycats might emerge, such as that Echelon and other brands. Fitness instructors, and so I think this can refer to both individual personal trainers and studios at large, will convert to blended classes, so training both in person and virtually. So studios will convert to maybe blended membership plans where maybe you get unlimited digital access plus 5 in-person classes per month for a certain price. Maybe personal trainers will host live workouts that they film and then put up under a paywall later on. So the merging of the in-person and the virtual workouts. A lot increase in-home fitness equipment sales. Optimism, I like this response. I think the fitness industry is going to have a huge surge. I think people are going to be used to a fitness routine they took up in quarantine and will be looking for other options when things start to open up again. So we do believe that people are missing their group fitness for the majority of them. And, you know, while some people may have been converted to at-home fitness forever, overall we saw that our audience was really ready, or not ready necessarily, but they are missing what gyms and studios provide them, and they will be hoping to come back when it's safe. And then kind of on the opposite end of the spectrum, one person and a few others predicted that many boutiques will close, mostly because they don't know when or if individuals will ever be comfortable being in a small gym, and they're not willing to pay the same rate for virtual classes. So they'll be sticking with their digital fitness. And then finally, finances, or worrying about money. Respondents said things like, I think people will be more selective in what they choose to support. This person in particular had decided to keep their ClassPass subscription but cancel their standard gym membership. What I think we're hoping at A Sweat Life is that people will show their local studios some love. You know, it's kind of a twist on, you know, helping small businesses succeed. We'll be buying directly from those gyms, not going through a third-party service like a ClassPass or a MindBody, you know, just buying directly from the gym and supporting them that way. And people might be, you know, ready to commit after this to the gym that they really loved, the gym that they hoped would survive the pandemic, the gym with their favorite instructors, or split it between a couple of different studios that will get their patronage directly. People are worried about prices. They're worried that prices will go up for a couple of reasons. Since gyms have had to face this shutdown, consumers are understanding that the gym business is struggling a lot, and they're worried the prices will go up because of that, and also because classes are expected to be limited capacity. So people are wondering, if you can't cap out this 30-person class and you're limited to only 15 people, how are you making up that revenue gap? And a lot of people are expecting that gyms will do that by increasing their price per class. Again, more about at-home workouts offered. Wondering if gyms will decrease their prices to compete with at-home apps and memberships. So a lot of people are just concerned about price, and none of us know what's going to happen. None of us have access to your company's financial models, but again, this is just what consumers are thinking about, and it might be another area where it pays to be transparent, especially if you're a smaller business who is really connected with a loyal client base. You might have to say, look, this is why we're charging for this package. This is how it works. This is how it supports us and ensures that we can be around for a long time, keeping you healthy, keeping you sweaty, and encouraging you the whole way. All right, that's what we've got. I have completely ignored the chat feature or anything at this time. Gina, I know you're on the call. Is there anything else that you want to add? You're so good at the overall big picture schemes.
I think this was great, Kristen. But I think one thing we can think about just moving forward is, again, obviously this is a blip that was completely unexpected by anyone, including the consumer. So when we look at their expectations, when we look at their spending habits, when we look at how things have changed, a lot of times people don't know how they're going to behave in the future. When you ask them about it and you ask a specific question about, like, do you plan to continue spending, or do you plan to continue your membership in the future? They may say no today, but in 2 months, as things change and open up, their behavior may change in a totally different and unique way. That's the fun thing about consumer behavior, is it's not always rational or predictable by the consumer or even by us. So I would say, like, don't let any of this data dishearten you. It's just kind of what's on consumers' minds at the moment. We'll continue to keep our eyes on it, and we'll probably resurvey them, honestly, as things start to open up again.
In the meantime, are there any questions, or is there anyone who, this is a casual environment. Is there anyone who feels like they can really identify with something that they saw in the research, something that surprised them? Feel free to chime in the chat feature, or be brave and take yourself off of mute. Now is the time. Kelly, was there anything that surprised you? I'll put you on the spot.
Not totally. I think that I kind of love that walking has become so popular, because I think it's so easy to do, and it's a great way to just get your mind off of something and get some movement in. But yeah, I think that even I noticed some of the comments, I feel like are kind of probably even different from when we when we did this, 2 weeks ago, we had the results probably. So I feel like everything's moving so quickly that I feel like people are going to be feeling differently even now or in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah. Kelsey, I'll read your comment out loud. Agreeing that some of the studios where social distancing is maybe built in a little bit easier might have a little leg up, or maybe a head start when it comes to reopening. So things like yoga, where you can spread out your mat, you stay on your mat. Pilates with the reformers, where you stay on the same thing the whole time. It's easy to clean. The class sizes are small already. They're going to stay small. And then cycling also, where you're in your bubble. I like how you phrase that, Kelsey. Question, and I don't know if anyone in the audience can speak to that. I cannot personally. Will gyms open up showers and towel service? That would factor in who returns as well. If I had to guess, I would say not immediately. I think what I've heard is that in studios that I'm in touch with, they're going to ask members to bring their own towels to workouts to start. Maybe they'll start with just body weight workouts, and you have the option to bring your own dumbbells or your resistance bands to the gym or to the outdoor space where you'll be taking the workout. And I'm not sure. I think showers will be a factor in who returns, but So many people right now are still going to be working home. You know, I've heard of offices not planning to open up until October in the latest. So there's a chance that the showering might not be a huge deterrent while the majority of people are going to be working from home for the foreseeable future.
So this is Maria. I know that like, as part of the city's requirements, all like ancillary things have to be closed. So like locker rooms, saunas, steam rooms, all that won't be open, can't be open for phase 3.
Yeah. Okay, I'm going to call out Amanda from the chat. Hi, Amanda. Interested in a point that was mentioned about changes in pricing. I'll be really curious to see how pricing structures change to make up for smaller class sizes, or there'll be more classes offered with smaller groups. That's really interesting. And again, I don't have the answers on this, but one thing that I would think about would be, I think there would be opportunities for more classes with smaller groups, depending on how much time is between those classes or where those classes are hosted. So if it's an outdoor workout, obviously there's a lot of freedom to swap out people a little bit faster than if it's an indoor studio where you've got to do that really thorough cleaning in between. So if it's in a park, theoretically, you might be able to host a 9-person 6 a.m. workout, a 7 a.m. workout, an 8 a.m. workout if you, maybe switch locations a little bit so you're not right on top of the same exact location. So I think that would be possible. If anyone in the industry has really thought about how they'll change their pricing structure with smaller class sizes, feel free to chime in, because my credentials do not include owning and operating a fitness studio. They could also, Amanda, I wonder if they'll try to make that up with more robust virtual options and maybe more variety of like digital class packages or that combination of in-person and digital packages.
Hi, so I can actually speak to that. My name's Allison. I work for a company called P-Volve, and we have a streaming service, but we also have our own brick and mortar studios in New York, Chicago, and LA. But one of the things that makes us unique is that we have our own proprietary equipment that comes with our workout. We're not planning on dropping prices because we are taking like extreme measure. No, I shouldn't even say extreme. We're taking like the most extensive measures when it comes to our cleaning and sanitation and safety measures for our clients. And we think we'll see how it goes the first couple of weeks when we reopen. But we think that our clients will so much appreciate the safety measures we're taking for them that it will be worth paying the regular price of a class. And we've heard that across the board from industry leaders that that lowering prices shouldn't be something we're looking at right now, because we're paying a lot of extra money to make sure the studio is that much safer, while only being able to operate at 50% capacity at least. So that I can just share that that's what we're doing at P-Volve.
Allison, thank you so much for being brave and coming off mute.
Of course, yeah. No, I've appreciated it in every webinar when other industry people are sharing things. So we're happy to share. I think we're all kind of in this together, right?
Yeah, and like you sort of alluded to, I do think that people are going to be happy and excited. Maybe it's the optimist in us, but I think people are going to be happy and excited to support the brands and the instructors they love. I think it's been really obvious that the fitness industry is struggling and that trainers and owners have had to pivot real hard right now. So what I'm hoping personally is that, people who have been maybe saving money during this time by not going to fitness classes will be a little more comfortable spending closer to their regular budget once shelter in place is moving along. Let's see, a couple more things. We'll wrap this up here in the next few minutes. Hi, Elsa. Encouraged by the prediction that the fitness and wellness industry will surge. Yeah, it is a good point that, while it doesn't speak to coronavirus specifically, in general, if you're healthy, if you're active, taking care of your body, you're going to be more resistant to picking up any sort of sickness. So people might be taking this as a sign to really get their health and wellness in check, even if it's by something as simple as walking. Kelsey, again, Kelsey, you're the most participatory. I love it. Planet Fitness, a big box gym, having members sign in by time. You're limited to a 45-minute time slot. Yeah, awesome. That's about what I would expect for big box gyms to operate more of a scheduled routine when it comes to how they're letting in their members. For phase 3, question from Elena. Do you know for phase 3, since we can only do fitness outdoors, do trainers or studios have to pay and rent out outdoor space? Yeah, so I can dabble in this. I know in Chicago, you are required to get, and Gina, you know a lot about this as well, so feel free to interrupt. If you're hosting an outdoor workout in like a park, you're required to get a permit, and that can be really complicated. It can be tough. I'm not sure if that applies to the lakefront once that starts to open up. I know that some of the gyms that I'm in touch with are looking at, maybe the alleys behind their space, the roof, if they're lucky enough to have access to the roof, any space where they can just, spread a few people out, even if it's not a traditional big grassy field. Gina, can you speak to the park permitting anymore?
Yeah, I can add, and Erica also jumped in here. Erica, thank you for sharing that information. She said permits are about $150 to $200 to teach classes at outdoor parks. So that's a very good point. And the permitting fees go up and down depending on how many people you plan to have, and other complicated things, like if you plan to have alcohol at your event. Newsflash, don't do alcohol because it'll get expensive. And there's a certain amount of bathrooms you have to provide, et cetera. But that's obviously for Chicago parks I'm speaking to specifically. I would say right now is a good time to reach out to your local parks district. Because just like your members, they are hungry for programming too. So they may be friendlier, they may be more generous than they usually would, especially if you say that you can help provide it as a value for the park district too. So yes, we'll save a specific amount of spots for the parks districts. All of you can use that if you like it. I know in Chicago specifically, our parks districts are starting to accept rentals or give out permits for July. That was at last glance. So I would check the park district's website if you need contacts there. We have a few that we can connect you to. So email Kristen, Gina, Kelly, Marie afterwards too.
And yeah, finish up, Gina, sorry.
Oh, I was just going to say, Erica, I would say that's probably the best solution to your problem is just to reach out to the park district and basically tell them the dilemma. If we can only have 10 people, I can't make this work for my model. How can I make it more valuable to you so that it is a value exchange, keyword value exchange?
And this is me just on pure conjecture here, is there a chance that city officials might look the other way in this type of situation if they notice a group of people training outdoors? And I'm not endorsing anything, I'm just asking.
There's a chance. I wouldn't count on it. I wouldn't count on it. But you see right now, like a lot of people are training, depending on your city, people are either training alone and in parks or people are training in small groups in parks. Before, in most places, you were required to have a permit, especially if money was being exchanged. There's always a chance, but I wouldn't bet on it, especially if you were a business owner.
I mean, to-go cocktails are essentially legal now in Chicago, so anything's possible.
That's a good attitude.
Guys, I think oh yeah, a lot of people training in unused parking lots. Cool, Sarah. I think we'll go ahead and wrap it up here. Our DMs and our emails are open for all of your questions, or if there are ways that you would like to further the conversation. We are recording this, so this will be available in posterity forever on the internet. And we'll also include a PDF of the actual presentation in our thank you email so that you guys can pore over it a little bit more closely and get a little more in depth with all of the parts that we had to skim over for time. And like I said, we are at A Sweat Life, we just want to be a resource for the fitness industry as a whole. So we are happy to workshop with you, to brainstorm, to tell you what we're seeing from our fitness obsessed community right now. So we are here to help. All right.
Just a quick note, if anybody is finding any luck with park permits with the city of Chicago, If you're comfortable sharing that as a resource with this group, we would love to know, because that's definitely something I know our studio specifically would love to pursue.
Is that Al?
Yeah, you know where I'm going to point you guys to is to our Facebook group. We have a trainers Facebook group that Kelly is in charge of, and we search hashtag trainers connect. That's right, Kelly?
Yes.
And we'll also include a link to that in our thank you email, so you guys can continue this discussion over there, and we can share resources. Thank you, Gina, that we found helpful with the community, because a rising tide lifts all boats. We're all, as I keep being reminded, we will get through this together. So yeah, Allison, thank you so much for bringing that up.
Thank you.
Awesome. Well, guys, thank you so much. Get outside, go for a walk, and thank you for sitting and listening to my TED Talk.